Okay. So the topic is objective textiles. So we will discuss slowly. It's a kind of fabric which we have started producing in our lab uh, by weaving method. So we will understand what is the concept first, what is objective textile, and how objectivity can be introduced in a fabric. This can be introduced in weaving, knitting, nonwoven, in any fabric. So since our lab is especially working on weaving, even we are trying to produce 3D objective fabric also. But today I am presenting only 2D objective fabric. So we'll be covering these points. So to start with, this slide shows a definition of objective material. Normally, you might have observed when we try to carry out a tensile test of a woven fabric, when you try to elongate the fabric in warp direction, it contracts in weft direction. And this is what happens with all conventional or normal material. So you can see how a objective material is shown different from non-objective. That means when a objective material is stressed, it becomes narrower. When compressed, it is like this. This is the difference between conventional material and objective material. So right hand side is the objective material. So the third picture is before original material, and when it is stretched, actually you can see its thickness also increases. That is what the objective material is called by definition. And when we calculate Poisson's ratio definition is lateral strain over longitudinal strain. When we calculate Poisson's ratio of an objective material, it gives negative value. So the other definition of objective material is the material which displays negative Poisson's ratio. That is how the definition of objective material, and we will see how this material behaves, why the material shows objectivity, what are its properties, how we can produce a woven fabric, woven objective material, and if it is woven objective material, then what will be its application. So this is how the definition of Poisson's ratio in more detailed mathematical interpretation. You can see here the relationship between bulk modulus and shear modulus. So when Poisson's ratio is negative, that means less than 0, less than equal to 0, then you will find bulk modulus is always less than equal to shear modulus. The value of bulk modulus, you can see in this scale also, must be much less than the shear modulus. So important for clothing material and application where lateral contraction due to stretch might be difficult. This is the case where we need to use this material. This is a simple Poisson's ratio scale. You can see left to 0 and right to 0. Any material which shows 0 Poisson's ratio or negative Poisson's ratio, they are normally crystalline bakelite or crystalline cellulose or microporous polymers. Whereas the conventional material means non-objective material, they are rubber-like structure, angular fiber, or any fiber we use in textile. And normally most of the materials are non-objective. Only few materials are objective material, and we have to see why this few materials shows objective behavior. As I said, objective material means the material with NPR, negative Poisson's ratio. This happens because of two reasons. The first one is the material geometry. The internal structure of material is such that when it is extended in one direction, in transverse direction, it also extended. And I'll show you some of the examples of such geometry. Some of the geometry example here shown in below in the diagram. There are 9 different geometries. They are all objective geometries. Subsequently, I'll show how really if you try to expand this geometry in one direction, it also expand in other direction and vice versa. So this is the first reason, that is internal structure or geometry. The second reason is the deformation mechanism. Deformation mechanism means when the load is applied to this material in one direction, it gets deformed when load is applied in transverse direction. A material is called zero objective material or zero objectivity. Zero objectivity means the state where there is no expansion or contraction in the transverse direction when the material is stretched in axial direction. So objective behavior is known to be scale independent. Therefore, same geometry or deformation mechanism may operate at macro, micro, and nano level also. There are direction issues in objective material. In case of isotropic system, the Poisson ratio is independent of the direction. Whereas in case of anisotropic material, the determination of this ratio depends on the direction of the stretch, whether we are stretching in axial direction or in transverse direction. These objective materials are not new. It's not that we are first time producing by weaving. This material already exists in the nature. Some of the examples are given here: skin, ceramics, graphite metals, zeolites, and some of molecules examples are seen. Iron pyrite monocrystal. The molecular diagram is shown here in the below. These are some of the examples which also shows negative Poisson ratio, means they are objective material. We have some objective biomaterials also. Cat skin, cow teat skin, salamander skin. These are all objective material which exist already in nature. Cancellous bone from human sins is also an objective bone. So these are, and nature, God has created these materials. They need to be objective, otherwise these materials will not last long. They cannot perform their duties as they are doing it. So God has created those materials in nature. They are objective. That's why they are doing their job. What are special characteristics of the objective? This is a very long subject. So I'm just briefly giving you, when we produce objective material, whether it is natural or man-made, textile or non-textile, most of the objective materials, they exhibit these special mechanical properties. That's why we are interested to develop this fabric by weaving or knitting or nonwoven. So what are those properties? They have improved indentation resistance. I will show you next to this slide what is indentation resistance. High shear resistance, this you understand. High fracture resistance, acoustic absorption. When the sound wave passes through these materials, the acoustic noise, the sound noise is captured by these materials. It does not allow the sound noise to pass through it. That's why we develop textile structure for acoustic applications. Dielectric behavior, particularly in case of honeycomb. Honeycomb is one of the best structure to be used as objective structure. Vibration control, damping capacity, energy absorption, and crashworthiness. So these are some of the specialty characteristics which you will find in objective material. So we try to exploit these characteristics in textile for different applications. So these are the properties. When I will come to applications, I will give you, it is not possible to explain for each application how these characteristics are really exploited, but definitely with few examples I will explain how these properties are exploited for a different application in textile fabric. So this is first one, indentation resistance. You can see the difference between objective and non-objective material. Left hand side is non-objective. If when this shape is being penetrated, see how it makes a groove and penetrated inside. If the material is objective, then it will not happen like this. So you can understand what is the mechanism here. The material accumulates under the indenter, and an area of denser material with higher resistance is created, which gives you indentation resistance. And this is the characteristics of the material. This is one application. So you can understand where you can use it. Whenever there is some bombardment, whenever there is some impact, and if you want to save the structure from damage, obviously, if the structure is auxetic structure, then it can absorb more energy, then it will not indent. So this is to understand the mechanism, how it happens. Shear resistance. See, normally shear resistance is denoted by this formula you must have come across in physics. Shear resistance is equal to Young's, E stands for the Young's modulus, divided by twice into 1 plus Poisson's ratio. So when this Poisson's ratio decreases, means when this value will become 0 or negative, the shear modulus and consequently the shear resistance will increase. This is how it is clear why shear resistance is very, very high for a auxetic material. Because in this equation, this VU, which is shown here, Poisson's ratio, either it will be 0 or it will be negative, so that you will get high shear resistance. This is mathematical justification why a auxetic material exhibits high shear resistance. Similarly, all other properties can be mathematically proved. So I'm just showing you one, all other things you can try yourself. Then auxetic textile material. In textile, auxetic fiber or polymer, yarn and fabric exist. It's not that we are talking of only woven fabric. You will find auxetic polymer, auxetic fiber, auxetic woven fabric, auxetic non-woven fabric, knitted fabric. Everything is possible auxetic, but only thing is we have to know how we produce this. This is one of the example of auxetic fiber and polymer. That is polytetrafluoroethylene is one of the example of this auxetic structure. So this is a polymer substance. Our focus today is on weaving. So I'm just giving you example, not discussing. Similarly, auxetic fiber and polymer, some more examples. When unloaded state and loaded state, you can see how this structure, when it is loaded, it changes to some other shape which is given in the second diagram. You can see there is increase in dimension in transverse direction, where it is elongated in longitudinal direction. That is how the auxetic behavior. This is some more example of auxetic axial direction and lateral direction. I'm skipping it. Now coming to our subject, first auxetic yarn. I'll give you only very few example of auxetic yarn, but focus is auxetic fabric. But let's understand what is auxetic yarn. This is one of the very simplest way of making auxetic yarn. In this diagram, this is a two-played yarn. Look at the left-hand side. Red color is a normal yarn. What I have written here, stiffer yarn, means it is not highly extensible yarn. It is a normal, ordinary spun yarn. And the blue color which is shown is a elastomeric yarn. Elastomeric is nothing but, let's say, your lycra yarn, spandex yarn. So what you have to do, you have to wind these two components, stiff component and elastic component. The basic requirement is the diameter of the elastic component has to be many, many times larger than the diameter of the stiff component. So what you will find after winding, when we will try to expand or elongate this yarn, you will find the elastic component is coming on the surface of the stiff component. You can compare the diameter between A and B. So A is when it was not extended. That means the red one was stiff yarn, blue one was elastic yarn. Now after winding at certain angle, what we do when you try to elongate them, then the length, red portion remains the same length, whereas the elastic portion get extended and it wrapped up over the red one. Since the diameter of this blue yarn, that is elastic yarn, is very, very high, the diameter after extension becomes high. And that is what is nothing but auxetic behavior. Auxetic behavior is nothing but lateral strain over longitudinal strain. When material is extended in transverse direction, its diameter has increased, so Poisson's ratio is negative. This is how the basic concept of producing auxetic yarn. The same thing is shown here. Only thing I am showing one diagram how auxiliary yarn can be produced. We have also developed one equipment. I will show you my next diagram here. This is a device is developed in IIT in my lab, where I can take two yarns. This yarn at the center core elastic yarn, and in this disc, these three green color package is non-elastic yarn. So they are coming together, and this disc is rotating. In the sense, the center yarn is coming straight. When this disc rotates, then it is wrapped over this. So what will be the change in diameter of the yarn from this stage to this stage? It simply depends on what is extensibility of elastic yarn and what is the angle of wind. So we control these two parameters, extension and angle of wind. What you see here is theta. Then you can see how much increase it will happen in transverse direction. In this diagram, you can see here the D delta, which is diameter of stiff yarn. This is diameter of your elastic yarn, and when it is extended, how much it will extend, it will depend on this angle theta, because with this angle, number of wraps per unit length will be decided, and you will get a auxiliary yarn. So this is what the basic principle of developing an auxiliary yarn. The same thing is explained here. What is the principle of formation of auxiliary yarn? In the whole process, we control these parameters: the diameter of stiff yarn, diameter of elastic yarn, extensibility, to what extent it will be extended, then extendibility of stiff yarn, extensibility of elastic yarn, and angle of wind, which is most important. You can control this angle of wind simply by controlling the linear speed and the rotational speed. So rotational speed is the speed of the disc. So this rotational speed and linear speed, the relation between these two speeds will decide what will be the angle of theta. And this angle theta will decide what will increase in diameter in transverse direction. So using these 7 parameters, we have just derived this equation. From this equation, you can control for a different angle theta, which is called angle of wind. You can find out the different diameter of the yarn. So using this formula, we have just developed a software using in MATLAB platform, and you just put different value of these linear speed and longitudinal speed so that the diameter can be controlled accordingly at a different value of theta. So this is using this equation, this MATLAB program has been written, and you can rotate your disc, control the angular speed and linear speed of the yarn. You can have a different objectivity value in the final yarn. Objectivity is nothing but lateral strain over longitudinal strain. Means if you have increased the yarn in longitudinal direction for a value of delta, how much delta is increased in transverse direction, that is in the diameter of the yarn. This is how the theory of auxiliary yarn really goes about. Coming to auxiliary fabric. Definition remains same. Fabrics with zero negative Poisson's ratio are referred as auxiliary fabric, which have unusual property, and it's a very, very interesting property. So as I said, these fabrics can be knitted fabric, woven fabric, non-woven fabric. Only thing is mechanism you should understand how this auxiliary in woven fabric can be produced. Today we will discuss only of woven auxiliary fabric. I also do not know much about non-woven auxiliary fabric, but people in different countries, they have developed auxiliary non-woven as well as auxiliary knitted fabric, for which you need a very special machinery. But auxiliary woven structure you can produce on a conventional weaving machine. So how auxiliary fabric can be produced? Auxiliary fabric can be produced by 3 different ways. Number 1, using auxiliary yarn. I have already explained what is auxiliary yarn. You can see here in this diagram. Second method is auxetic fabric geometry. We can have a weave design which also produce auxetic behavior. You have to only know what are those weave design. The third method is combination of 1 and 2. You take auxetic yarn, also use auxetic weave, then obviously the auxeticity which you will get in third method will be cumulative effect of weave design and auxetic yarn effect. So these are three different techniques by which you can produce auxetic fabric, simply using auxetic yarn or simply using auxetic weave or combining both auxetic yarn and auxetic weave design. You can get better or higher NPR value fabric. NPR stands for negative Poisson's ratio. It is mathematical notation of auxetic fabric. Let us understand a little bit geometrically. Then only you can imagine how a weave design of auxetic behavior can be determined. So look at this diagram. The design analyzed is a foldable stripes. These foldable stripes you can take both in warp way as well as weft way. Here it is shown vertically, means warp way. So the expansion in transverse direction, which when stretched in axial direction, that's why it will give negative Poisson's ratio. I'll show you some more examples. This is how this foldable in warp direction converted to a weave design. In this design, when stretched along the warp direction, it tries to open up the fold and expands in transverse direction. So this is how auxeticity can be developed. You have to first know what kind of geometry will give this folded structure in the fabric, then convert that geometry to weave design, then convert that weave design to a draft and peg plan, then weave the fabric, then you will get the properties. This is what the geometrical analysis, what I said. It is basically what happens in this, considering in each weft there are two portions of a different weave pattern. For example, just a minute. Ashish ji, I'll give you a call after 1 hour, please. I'm again in a webinar. Okay. So this is one example. I'll give you some better example where from you it will be easy for you to understand. This is a geometrical analysis. I'll give a mathematical proof why this is giving negative Poisson's ratio. And you can see here in this diagram foldable geometry. When it is expanded in longitudinal direction, you can see there will be a change in angle. Or I can take it reverse wise. If I deliberately change this angle, I will get auxeticity value. So the geometrical analysis is explained here, but I'll come to straight mathematical application. This is the formula which from that explanation. It is reverse way calculation, but I'll come to that in mathematical calculation, how it is really calculated. I'm going to that. I'll come back again. This is, look at carefully this. This is a reentrant hexagonal geometry. I will mathematically prove how this kind of geometry produces auxeticity, means negative Poisson's ratio. This geometry is termed as a reentrant hexagonal geometry. This is unit cell of that hexagonal geometry. This is a multi-cell structure. Just I have taken unit cell. You know unit cell in case of Pierce geometry, one warp, one weft. Similarly, this is unit cell of this reentrant geometry. In this unit cell, angle theta is called angle of bend. And I'm trying to expand in vertical direction to this unit cell. So vertical length from this geometry is given y is equal to twice FL, twice L sine theta. And from this direction geometry, you can also find out what will be horizontal length. Horizontal length in this is x, which is twice L minus L cos theta. Now, on stretching along x direction, same geometry, Angle of bend increases from theta to phi. Look at it in the diagram. After stretching, the angle theta is changed to angle phi. When this angle theta changes to angle phi, what has happened to the change in dimension in longitudinal and transverse direction? That is del y and del x. So del y and del x is calculated when angle of bend has changed from theta to phi. What is my Poisson's ratio? Definition of Poisson's ratio is lateral strain over longitudinal strain. That means del y upon del x. And we have already calculated del y and del x value. Look at this. When you substitute this value, Poisson's ratio is coming V less than 0. That means a negative value. That means these structures, what you have seen here, is giving a negative Poisson's ratio. So this is one of the established geometry which shows negative Poisson's ratio. Only rest thing depends on us as a weaver. Can we convert this geometry into a weave design? Then can we weave this weave design into fabric by drawing proper draft and take plan? That's what our job is. So the fundamental thing remains how these auxetic geometry is to be identified. In nature, I said, there are so many, everything we learn from the nature. Scientists have done nothing on their own. As you know, we learn to make aircraft looking at birds flying. We developed ship looking at fish is swimming in the sea. Everything we learn from the nature. So when we analyze the structure of different materials, I have already shown you some of the structure exist in nature. Pyrolite, cat skin, or some tendon in the human bone, those who behave auxetically. So people have analyzed those structures and analyzed their geometry, and they found the geometry is of this one of this type. This is not the only geometry. There are many geometry which behaves auxetically. This is only one example. I will show you one more example. There are hundreds. If you just click what are the auxetic geometry exist in the nature, you will find thousands of geometries. So we have just taken few. I will show you fabric of only 7 or 8 examples in this presentation. So this was first example where I have proved mathematically this geometry gives negative Poisson's ratio. Let us see one more example. This is another example. It's called rotating square. When I convert this geometry into line diagram, it looks like this. This is unit cell of this rotating square geometry. In this unit cell, you can see what is the dimension of horizontal and vertical length. So horizontal length is denoted by x. You can express this x in terms of angle of bend. X is equal to L upon cos theta plus sin theta. Vertical length is y is equal to L upon cos theta plus sin theta. Now what I will do, I will expand this material in one of the direction. Let's say longitudinal direction or one of the direction. So the angle theta will change from theta to psi. Then you, by changing this angle from theta to psi, you can find out what is the change in value of y and x in axial and transverse direction. And your Poisson's ratio is nothing but lateral strain over longitudinal strain, that is dy upon dx, that is minus y upon x in this, which is giving you -1. Negative Poisson's ratio value is nothing but a auxetic material. That means such kind of geometry also gives negative Poisson's ratio. Similarly, you can find out your own mathematical model taking any auxetic geometry already available in the nature, or people have developed some auxetic geometry which we call man-made auxetic geometry, in which you will find the Poisson's ratio is either 0 or a negative value. This is how the mathematical proof of NPR value, negative Poisson's ratio, or what we call auxetic material. Question is engineering of auxetic fabric. How to engineer an auxetic fabric of a desired negative Poisson's ratio. That is what the job of textile people. If I want to develop a fabric of a auxeticity, let's say minus 0.5, then how to go about? What should be my warp? What should be my weft? What should be the extension of warp and extension of weft? What should be the weave geometry so that I will get a auxetic value? That's called engineering of auxetic geometry. This is what our research, what we are doing. But today what I will show you only developing some auxetic fabric, measuring its NPR value, and I'll compare 7-8 different structures. You will see how different structures are giving different auxetic value. But those structures you can yourself analyze by mathematical tools by using the technique which I have already explained you in these two geometries. This technique can be used for any geometry. So logical steps to produce auxetic fabric. First, understanding auxetic geometry means the geometry which can produce auxeticity. Auxeticity is nothing but NPR, negative Poisson's ratio. You can find out this value in two ways, either by suitable analytical model. Two examples which I have shown you, analytical model. And if you have a very complex geometry, very difficult to draw the solution by geometrical formula, you can do it by computational model. Means you can develop a computer programming from where you can find out what will be the NPR value. This is other method. But I am showing today, I will show you both computational method as well as mathematical method. Once this geometry is decided, the next step is converting this geometry into appropriate weave design. And it's very easy for us. As you know, nowadays we have CAD system. We are producing any complex geometry into weave design, all flowers, all leaves, or nowadays even poster weaving CAD software is available. You just take your photograph, then your photograph can be woven into warp and weft. That is what the same thing. Once the geometry is known, the geometry can be translated to a weave design by using conventional or any CAD software available today. Then once this software or weave design is there, whether it is manual method or by CAD system, by computer method, then you can go for weaving the actual fabric for this weave design. After the fabric is woven, the third step is characterize the fabric. Means take the fabric, measure its Poisson's ratio on instron. You simply, I will show you technique how we measure the Poisson's ratio. Take the fabric, measure its tensile properties. You extend the fabric by a value, let's say del X, see what happens to del Y. If you know for a given del X what is the value of del Y, take the ratio, lateral strain over longitudinal strain, you can find the Poisson's ratio. So you will see whether the Poisson's ratio value is coming 0 or negative. If it is coming 0 or negative, that means the fabric which we have developed is a auxetic fabric. This is how the whole game is. So if you understand this process and now you want to produce the engineering fabric, go for reverse engineering. Just I told you 4 steps. This is first, second, third, fourth. If I want to produce a auxetic fabric, go back from this side. And that is what we do. By reverse engineering, you can produce a auxetic fabric of any NPR value. That is negative Poisson's ratio value. So this is what the basic fundamental which you have to understand. The rest of the things are very simple. We have produced in this, I will show you 9 different structures, 9 different fabric samples, and which I will explain very quickly. So, but the fundamental aspect, the fundamentals which govern the production of a negative Poisson's ratio or auxetic fabric, which I have explained. Only that part you have to understand. The rest of the things are very, very simple. Using this method, I will show you now 9 different fabric samples and geometry. So first one is to develop auxetic woven fabric using concept of foldable geometry. In this, I have produced 3 different fabric samples. A fabric with zigzag stripes in warp way, a fabric with zigzag stripes in weft way, a fabric with zigzag stripes in both bias direction. That means other than warp and wave direction at certain angle to warp. The second is to develop auxetic fabric by rotating quadrilateral. I will show you both the diagrams subsequently. So in this, the first one has 3 samples. This is here 4 samples. Then here it is to develop auxetic weaving by hexagonal geometry. I'll come to all these geometry independently. Then I have taken one to develop auxetic fabric employing wave pattern. How this wave pattern is denoted, I will show you. Also, we have developed auxetic fabric by random pattern. So all these patterns I will show you diagrammatically. This is after the structure is developed. We have developed these structures in CAD software. Then to produce this fabric, what we have used, we have taken non-elastic yarn and elastic yarn both. I have already explained to you what is non-elastic yarn and elastic yarn. And we have produced the fabric taking both elastic yarn as well as means auxetic yarn as well as auxetic weave. I have already told you auxetic fabric can be produced in 3 ways. First way is you produce auxetic fabric using auxetic yarn. You know what is auxetic yarn. Second way is you produce auxetic fabric by using auxetic weave geometry. I have already explained you what is auxetic weave geometry. The third method is you produce auxetic fabric using both simultaneously, auxetic yarn as well as auxetic weave. So the samples which we have produced used both auxetic yarn and auxetic weave design together simultaneously. So these are the first 3 foldable geometry: zigzag warp, zigzag weft, zigzag biased. Your fourth sample, auxetic geometry using rotating square. This is rotating square horizontal direction, rotating square in vertical direction. So 3 plus 2, 5 samples. 6. This is auxetic geometry by reentrant hexagonal geometry. So this is called reentrant hexagonal geometry. This is a dumbbell shape. This is a wave pattern. This is a random pattern. So hexagonal geometry, dog bone shape, wave pattern, random pattern, 4 samples. In rotating quadrilateral 2, 6 samples. In foldable geometry 3, total 9 samples. We have taken these 9 different geometry which are auxetic and convert those geometry into weave design with the CAD software. You can use any CAD software. Nowadays, all the weaving CAD software available. You can take RNA, you can take Knit Graphic, any. So you just feed the design and feed the diameter of yarn, count of yarn, and give the interlacement order. You will get this weave design. So we produced weave design with a CAD software. All these 9 geometry I have already shown you. So this is for the first. On these there are 3. This was zigzag wave, zigzag warp. This is zigzag bias direction. Then this is weave design for quadrilateral geometry in vertical direction. And this is reentrant hexagonal geometry. Weave design is developed. This is a dumbbell shape. Weave design is developed. This is wave pattern. The weave design is developed. And this is random, where also we have developed a random design, its weave pattern. All these 9 weave pattern has been developed on CAD software from those 9 different auxetic geometry. Next step is weaving of the fabric. Once you have a weave design, rest of the things are the job of the textile people. You know, if you know the weave design, you simply create the draft and take plan, go for drawing of the threads from the weave. And as I said, in our case, we have used both auxetic yarn as well as auxetic weave. What I explained, the auxetic weave, auxetic yarn we have developed on our own equipment. And this is the detail of the auxetic yarn, which we have taken. I will show you the example subsequently. Basically, we have taken a 10s count and a 30s count. The requirement is the diameter difference of these 2 yarns has to be very, very high. Then you will get better auxetic value. And the fabric is woven. Once the fabric is woven, you go for testing the auxeticity of these fabrics. This is the technique how auxetic fabric can be tested on any instant tensile tester to find out its auxetic value. So this sample is fixed on Instron. Give 4 marks, these 2 marks here and 2 marks here. Then you go for extending. See the changes in the position of these 4 dots by a camera. So nowadays, all these UTMs are attached with this high-speed camera. So you go for extending this fabric in warp direction. See, in a normal fabric, what you happen? When you extend this fabric in warp direction, in wave direction it contracts. But this is a different case. This is auxiliary fabric. When you try to extend this in warp direction, you will find these 2 points in wave direction, they will also go apart. Means the fabric is also going to be extended in its transverse direction. So you know the change in warp direction, you know the change in wave direction, both are extension. So you can find out what will be lateral strain over longitudinal strain, which is nothing but Poisson's ratio. Since it is expanded in both the direction, the Poisson's ratio value, you will get a negative value, NPR, which is nothing but objeticity value. So Poisson's ratio is minus of EY upon EX, lateral strain over longitudinal strain, from these experiment. So as I told you, the yarn details which we have taken in your fabric, these are details of the yarn, and these are the characteristics properties of the yarn. I am not going to explain them. And this is fabric, as I said, 30s and 20s too. This is very interesting thing which you have to observe. And similarly, you will find 9 different Poisson's ratio and axial strain diagram. They are all in similar behavior, and I will explain only one, and all other 9 fabric samples are of the similar type. Look at how it is behaving. This is a very typical Poisson's ratio versus axial strain diagram, where you can see both in top and bottom side of the zero, negative value and positive value. If it is a normal fabric, obviously the diagram will not come from these two here. The axial strain will start from somewhere here and it will go on up here, here and this way. Because it is a auxiliary fabric, so while extending in axial direction, which I have mentioned axial strain, what you will find, the curve starts somewhere from here, showing this negative Poisson's ratio. After a particular strain, the curve goes to positive side, and you will find all our 9 fabric samples behaving in the same way, where the material is showing negative Poisson's ratio. This is negative Poisson's ratio characteristics test, and this is what I am showing you now in zigzag for wave direction. Same way, similarly you will find Poisson's ratio for your rotating square. This is quadrilateral geometry, Poisson's ratio. Similarly, you will find Poisson's ratio axial strain for quadrilateral geometry. Then you can find hexagonal geometry, the Poisson's ratio, axial strain over Poisson's ratio, that which is showing negative Poisson's ratio. Dog bone shape, also similar result. Only thing is the entire value is different. For every structure you can find how much negative, how much positive you can see here. You will find all 9 samples of a different value of NPR. This is for pattern, weave pattern, and the last one is for random. So these are 9 fabric samples obtained from auxiliary geometry, weave pattern created, fabric samples developed, its negative Poisson's ratio calculated, and when I summarize these results in a single table, what you will find, look at the NPR, the third column, maximum NPR produced. The third column, first is serial number, second is fabric name, and I have already told you 9 fabric samples, starting from zigzag in warp wave bias, then quadrilateral geometry, then hexagonal geometry, then wave pattern, and then your random pattern. So in all these 9 samples, this table shows 5 results. The second slide you will find 4 more. So these are the negative Poisson's ratio, third Kalman value. I am going to the second diagram where you can see here. Other four. So look at when you compare the NPR value of these 9 designs, see minus 0.173, minus 0.38, 41, 37, 38, 15, 188, 184.5. The last one, fabric with zebra pattern, that is random pattern, is giving highest NPR value, minus 0.5. So this is the result with these 9. You can take another NPR, auxetic geometry, then produce your fabric, you will find a different NPR value. So the question is, you have to know which geometry gives what value of NPR. Because when we will go for technical application, I will show you subsequently what are the applications. Then you have to understand by reverse engineering, if I want a woven fabric with, let's say, minus 0.5 NPR or minus 0.15 NPR, then what should be the constructional detail of the fabric? Means what should be the work count, weft count, weave design, end per centimeter, pitch per centimeter. Then only you will get this predefined NPR value. This is how the fabric engineering goes about, which we call reverse engineering. And this technique is used to produce a auxetic fabric of a defined NPR value. This is the whole technique. You can also predict this NPR value by computational model, which we have developed here using a software called TextGen software, developed by Manchester University. This is not our software. And I'll show you, see, this is the original fabric. It is subjected to stress in one direction. So you can find out the change in color means it is carried out in ANSYS software, and in which we have processed and calculated NPR value, just clicking it. And you also find the same Poisson's ratio axial strain relationship in this method also. So both way, you can produce by computational method, by mathematical technique, how much NPR value you can achieve. And we have done the same thing for all our fabric samples, and we have a comparison. This is axial strain by transverse, result of analytical model and mathematical model has been compared, and we have found a correlation of, say, error percentage of about 22%. So this is a very high error percentage, may not be acceptable. Error percentage should come somewhere between 0 to 5%, 10%, but this was our first trial of carrying out this exercise on ANSYS. But anyway, one can go for developing more number of samples, taking more number of trials. This error can be further reduced to find out a computational method for calculating NPR value of auxetic woven fabric. So this is how this mathematical model and analytical model goes about. Coming to the last step, part of this presentation, which is more interesting for you to know what are the application of these fabrics we discussed about, why we produce this auxetic woven fabric. These are some of the applications where it is used. Protective clothing, I will show you some of the examples. Safe wear, fluid transfer, biomedical field, children wear, maternity wear, safety belt, smart bandage, auxetic nail. There are many applications. Fashion garments, long top girls, smoking stoles, round neck, V-neck tops, many applications are shown. More applications, very advanced application is auxetic fabrics to be used in biomedical areas, artificial blood vessels and esophagus stents. Stents, you understand, people, we use stents for heart surgery also. So, which is a auxetic material. When it is extended longitudinally, it should also expand transverse direction so that the dilation takes place, the diameter increases, so easy passage of the blood. So stents are also made up of these auxetic materials. And example, I'll give you some more examples. Auxetic stents, some more points are written on auxetic stents, as I already explained in medical applications. In military applications, it's called auxetic blast cotton. So this is a very, very advanced application nowadays for defense people. A fabric is produced using auxetic fabric. Where there is a blast, when there is a bomb blast, then it strikes. If you have a cotton, it acts like an umbrella. When the blast force acts on this fabric, the fabric expands both in longitudinal transverse direction. So surface area increases. That means intensity of blast decreases. And auxetic fabric is one of the most useful, safety gears nowadays used by military people for these applications. Look at some of the more applications here. Filtration. Filtration means it is called, time variable filtration. Filtration means when a particle is here, and this is auxetic structure, auxetic fabric, and depending on the size of filtered medium, the pore size changes. So it's called a smart filter. Auxetic fabric serves as a smart filter. Self-locking stitch threads, medical textile you can see here. For example, this is one application for bandage, smart bandage. This is surface area increases so that it will absorb, fluid very readily. Similarly, you can have a maternity wear also, because as a pregnant lady belly size increases, the fabric expands both in warp and wave direction, so that the shape of the fabric changes with the change in the size of the belly of the pregnant lady, which is, we call it pregnant or maternity wear. See, what I was talking about, the term is called auxetic blast cotton. When blast taking place, see the screen expands. That means the severity of the blast force reduces and you can save the life. You can see the auxetic, here it is auxetic nail. So during push in and when during push out, because it expands when push in, because it forces and it grips the nail. This is lightweight auxetic composite panel, which is given at the bottom of this vehicle. So these are normally military vehicles. When the military vehicles pass over some blast, let's say, in enemies, they put the bomb just inside the soil on the road. When this vehicle pass through, this bomb blast takes place, and if you have a auxetic composite material panel at the bottom of this vehicle, then it can protect the people, those who are sitting inside this vehicle. And there are many more applications of these. This is used nowadays for making auxetic sole of the shoes. You can see here in footwear, auxetic design allows the sole to expand in size while walking or running, thereby increasing the flexibility of this material so that the stress on foot is less and also life of the shoes is more. The most challenging application nowadays is textile structural composite using auxetic woven structure. Woven auxetic construction as a composite preform can be used to make structural composites for many innovative applications. Only challenge in this case, why it is written here challenge, because once the woven preform is ready by weaving, then what we do in composite manufacturing, we try to impregnate some resin. When the resin will be impregnated, obviously the mobility of the woven structure is restricted, because resin is a glue, it's an adhesive. When it binds the warp and weft yarn, then obviously when the composite is subjected to a stress in warp or weft direction, then the fabric will not be allowed to expand, because resin has already restricted the movement of warp and weft. So what is the challenge here? The challenge here is you have to have a suitable resin. You have to choose a resin in such a manner, the modulus of that resin has to be exactly same as the modulus of the fabric. When load is applied, the way, the pace or the rate at which the expansion of fabric takes place, preform takes place, the resin must cooperate to the expansion of the fabric also. So if you can have a special kind of resin which will have exactly similar tensile behavior of the auxetic woven preform, then you will find excellent auxetic textile structural composite which can be used for many purposes. This is how all about auxetic structures. The conclusion is auxetic behavior in the woven construction can be brought by first inserting foldable geometry, placing various weave architecture which I have already shown you, or further auxetic nature can be established by varying float length, using elastic non-elastic yarn combination, that means by introducing auxetic yarn or changing in weave design. Any of these methods can be used to produce auxetic fabric. So what is the outlook in this emerging research area? Auxetic geometry is a key. The very first thing is you have to know what are auxetic geometry available. And you will find nowadays, not in textile, in mechanical engineering or in material science, researchers are continuously developing new auxetic structures. That's a new material development. By this time, you must have understood what is new auxetic material. That means the geometry of this structure is to be designed in such a way, it must give NPR, negative Poisson's ratio. And how it is giving negative Poisson's ratio, which I have already shown you analytically. Similarly, as a weaving technologist, can you develop a weave design? Can you develop a geometry which will produce NPR, means negative Poisson's ratio? That is your the challenge. So develop a auxetic geometry, convert that geometry into weave design with a CAD system, convert that weave design into a fabric by weaving, test the auxetic value, see how much NPR is giving, use this NPR value for any end-use application you want. That is how all about auxetic structure. Thank you all.